Hey there everyone, Paolo here, and welcome back. It's time for what I think is going to be the first one of several videos. We're going to call these While We Wait, in which we're going to look at some of the other games out there available for us to play that can maybe tide us over as we wait for Star Citizen to come around to at least a more complete state. Obviously not a complete game. It's going to be playable long before then, but at least as we go. And to start off with, we're going to be with what is the newest one out, X4 Foundations. Now, I've spent a little bit of time trying to figure out how to best do this one. I was actually recording earlier. I was going to go ahead and record a bunch of footage, edit it down into the more exciting and better, just more enticing parts, and put that out there with some commentary over after the fact. And I decided that's probably not the best way to go about it because that would be a false representation of what this game is. So now we're just doing some live commentary as I go ahead and play the game. We're going to talk a little bit about the backstory of this game, the history of this game, what it is, and what you're going to be doing and everything over the next probably 30-ish minutes. So yeah. So what is the X series? Well, the X series, let's remove Rebirth from the equation. It's an odd mix of, ooh, is that what we want? It's an odd mix of large strategy, like trading strategy, and first-person space combat. And that's been what it is. Now, make no mistakes, this game is mostly played via menus. Even the newest one, X4 right here, it's mostly played via the menus. There are some things that you'll do. You can see here, obviously, I'm flying a ship. And unlike the older ones, this one now, you do get to fly basically any and every ship within the game. Not basically, literally. They're all flyable. If you see a ship, you can fly it. Come on, pick up. There we go. And take that out. But it's overlaid with, if I hit enter here and come into the map, with a much grander Empire-like building game. So you can see here on the left-hand side, actually we'll just jump over here, my owned property right now. So I currently own about, what's this, about 12, 15 ships that are running different things for me. Most of them are doing trading. I have a few miners. I also have a space station. We'll fly over there here in a moment. It's not too far. Being built. This is part of what is kind of the ongoing story. And all of this I own. And to some extent, I am managing it. I can give orders to all these different trading ships. I can come in here into their information. First, I buy the ship or acquire the ship in some manner. I can then fit the ship out in some way. I put some sort of crew on it, and then I give it orders of what to do, and then the AI takes over from there. Most of it, like I said, is training. Now, compared to a game like Stellaris, though, or something, it's far more basic. You're not going to be really diving in. By customizing the ship, I mean basically what we do is you choose a hull or chassis, and then there's certain hard points. So you choose, okay, here's 9 different engines. Here are the engines I want to put on it. Here are all the different weapons. Here's the weapons I want to put on it. Here's the shields. And you can kind of customize that way. You're not going to be building from the bottom up a full ship. So that's a little more basic. In terms of like the NPCs, well, basically you run around and you'll walk up to an NPC, you'll look at their stats and you'll say, hey, you're working for me, go fly that ship, and they're now your pilot. Or go crew chief that ship, and they're going to go and they'll try to make the ship run a little bit better, things along those lines. So it's a lot more simplistic. On the other side of things, when it comes to like the flying and the combat, compared to games like, what is it? Well, Elite Dangerous it's kind of in that ballpark of Elite Dangerous, a little more basic than Elite Dangerous, but compared to, I can't think of what some of them have been. The one where it's kind of got like a Japanese theme to it, and you're the last samurai. Fudge, I'm losing my mind here a little bit. And it's not a space fighter game. The actual space combat is relatively simplistic. You use a lot of auto-targeting. You keep targets in front of you, and then you kind of just fire at your crosshairs. You have 2 fire groups. The actual flying isn't super complex either. It's going to be something you're going to be playing keyboard and mouse. You don't need a HOTAS joystick setup for this. In fact, the HOTAS joystick setup would probably make it worse rather than better. And I'm sure there's going to be somebody that comes along this X4 video that plays X4 with those dots and be like, oh, you're crazy. While the flying might be better, the fact that you do, like, only around, at least for me, maybe 30% of my gameplay is actually flying. Most of it is fast traveling from A to B, setting up waypoints, telling things to do stuff. Whoop, I forgot what I was doing. Here's our space station. This is my personal one. It's still being produced. Right now they're putting up these solar arrays, which will start producing some energy cells. It's still very early on. The main complex back here was kind of gifted to you through a story mission. It's a slight spoiler. I should have actually thought about that before I showed it, but it's the only one I have. There was some very basic combat. Well, we'll find something a little bit in a moment here to do a little more combat. But yeah, that's kind of what the X series is. It's an odd assortment of a bunch of different genres of games done in something that is rather unique. And it's either going to speak to you or it's not. For people that are into Star Citizen for more of the multiplayer dogfighting stuff, and I should be upfront with that, there's no multiplayer in this game. This is a purely single player game. It doesn't even have co-op going on. It's a purely single player game, but if you're looking for the more dogfighting, that's why you're into Star Citizen. You want that visceral, edge of your seat, holding on to the joystick and all that. You're not going to get that out of X4. However, if you're looking for more of the economic side of things, you're more interested in how in setting up trade routes and the economy and the production lines. All of that you can do here in X4. In time, my base space station here, like we're building some solar arrays, so we'll be able to make energy. Well, then we can store that energy. If we make more than enough energy, we can sell it off. We can also use that energy to we're in an asteroid field. Like you can see here, we're in an asteroid field. Well, we could get miners going. We could bring in miners into this area, mine up these asteroids, drop them off, put them into a refinery, which I could then use the energy from the solar arrays to power the refinery, to break down the ore, to make materials that I could then either produce like weapon parts or something myself, or I could just sell it off. And you kind of stagger it. So you start off, first you make the energy, then you use that energy to power a refinery, then you use the refinery while you're selling off that ore, use that to fund setting up a production of the weapon parts or hull parts or something. And you can scatter it all throughout that. There's also, silicon production, all kinds of different materials. So you kind of build onto that, and then you can build more space stations. This is just the first. You could have any number of space stations that you build out, and you just go out and find a plot of open space, drop off the space station, and you start building. And then you have these large, large ships that are constructors. Right there it is. Nope, that's the platform it sets up. This is a space platform that is used to drop off supplies that are being used. There's the constructor ship. So the constructor ship drops off this thing, which then drones come and go from this thing with supplies. So you need a certain amount of hull material and then energy components and fiber wire or whatever to build it. So this stuff comes in. What's this thing doing here? This is HQ Courier 1. He is docking. He's unloading parts. So he's doing trade. Yeah, he's bringing in supplies. Basically, he's unloading supplies that are going to be used for crafting this solar array system right now, is what he's doing. Let's go ahead. Let's actually queue up some stuff because I don't want that construction worker to leave. Whoops. Click over here. We're going to come in here. We're going to plan build. And then we're going to come in here. So you can see kind of what I have going on so far. The orange stuff's in construction. The green, this is some storage containers I have. And then we have some basic... just piping and stuff. What we need to set up, I think, next is habitation. Yes, we need some habitation biomes, so I need to get some workers down here in order to actually make all this go. So let's see, we're going to take this, we're going to drop it, and it is a little cumbersome because I want to rotate this around. Can I flip it upside down? I cannot flip it upside down. Okay, so this one's got to go kind of up there, and then we'll put another one here. So we'll have two habitation biomes, and we're going to confirm the modules. So okay, those are now going to be produced. Now we need to fund it. And you can see up here, there's two different ways to look at it. We got that and manage funds. It's going to look very much, or it is the same. I don't know why I never realized. But basically, I have a manager on this space station, and they're going to send funds. And in order to build this, I need a certain amount of items. And you can see here's some whole parts, but we're going to need a bunch of other stuff. The manager on this station is going to basically spend these funds in order to bring the materials into that little station, that dock we were looking at before, which will then be used to construct. So we got to give it a little bit of fun. So we have 286,000. We're not going to spend any more right now, but we do have 420,000 right now. My traders are running around with that amount of money. That there is like 70% of the game, at least in how I play it. Not necessarily the space station, but setting up the traders. Most of my traders are set doing auto runs. However, with certain traders, you can do specific things. So if we come over here, we can see all the different wares that are available within the game. So you can go ahead and you can say, hey, what sells really well? Let's zoom out here, and you'll see advanced composites. So they buy for 726, they sell for 808. So a gain of about 75, 80 per run on that. Let's see. We can also go advanced electronics. So about 400, 420 per run. So that's not bad. Advanced electronics are good. We can scroll through here. Antimatter cells, 174. They don't sell, so no one's buying antimatter cells. So we don't want to be doing those. Antimatter converters, 628. You get the idea. You can scroll through here, and then you can come into your actual specific traders and give them specific orders depending on their skill level. So for example, I know here we click information and then expand out the information on this ship. This ship has a general, whoops, what am I on? Why don't I see what I actually want to see? Let's try a different one. That one's maybe set up as a subordinate. Information. Our crew skill level right here. Well, we can set up default behaviors. Right now, this guy's default behavior is basically a general purpose auto trade. I don't have specifically targeted in trade these items. In order to do that, he needs to have a certain pilot proficiency. See, the auto trader needs to have a proficiency of 3. Right now, we have a proficiency of 2. In fact, I only have one ship. It's this Courier 3 that I have set up right now. That actually has this proficiency. So we look inside this guy, he's actually being told just buy advanced microchip or electronics, microchips, and engine parts. Those are like the 3 high yield items that I found. So he's doing just that, but that's because he has a higher skill level than the others. And he will level up over time. He'll eventually become 4, the other ones will become 2, 3, so on. So we mess that out. So this is where I spend most of my time. It's not a super high pace game. That doesn't mean there's none. Let's zoom out. Let's see, is there any combat going on? Let's get rid of that. Open up the map a little bit more. Whoops. What did I just issued an order to something. Was that my order? Let's remove this order. I might have just sent what my because I had that other ship click, so I was sending him there to travel. We didn't want to do that. Minor. I'm just looking for some type of combat going on that we can go get into. Something a little more interesting. Let's fly out here. There's generally something going on in this area here. You see a lot of space stations and stuff. These are different space stations set up. So there's normally something going on there. Start guidance to here, and then we'll turn on our autopilot. Oh, there's a big ship. There's a bigger ship. Yeah. Not huge. That's considered a medium ship right there. That's a medium-sized trader. We're going to put what is essentially quantum on for us, and we're going to do some travel. And this will take a little bit of time. We'll continue talking. Now this game. So I talked about the general idea of the X series, and I said exclude X Rebirth. Rebirth was an oddball out. So that was kind of, you had X, X2, X3 with a bunch of expansions. X Rebirth, which was kind of like the 4th X game, but they didn't call it that. And Rebirth was trying to take the game in a new direction. It was trying to do a more narratively focused gameplay. When it came out, it got bombed. It was very poorly received, and rightfully so. First of all, it took a series that was beloved for what it did in a completely different direction, but also beyond that, it was highly broken. Just to the point where things just didn't work. X4 is somewhat in that boat. It's not as broken as Rebirth was, but it does have a fair share of problems. There's a lot of things where you're not sure, like for such a complex game, you'll try and issue an order. Say, I was talking about my manager back on that space station. Well, day 2 of the game being out, there was a bug where you would go out there and you'd have a manager on your ship and you would try and deploy them onto the space station in order to take control so you could start building stuff, and nothing would happen. They would just stay on your spaceship, even though you went through the menus and selected them and told them what to do and everything. And then you would sit there like, well, is the game broken? Is it something I'm doing wrong? Or is it a problem with the game? And it turns out, at least in some circumstances, what was happening is you would get into a little bit of combat around the space station and the manager's office would get damaged, and then the manager couldn't go into it. Well, there was nothing to tell you the manager's office was damaged, but also since the space station wasn't functioning, there was no way to repair it. So you were just kind of stuck there. There was nothing you could do. Well, they fixed that. It took them 2 days, 3 days to get that patch out. There's another one. Right now, this is my second take on this. As I said before, I was trying to record a part before. Well, part of what I was recording had me fly to a space station, go down to an engineering section when no one was looking. I was supposed to hack a terminal. Basically, I was making it that their wares, their sellable wares appeared differently. We were trying to stack the stock market against them is what we were trying to do. Well, I spent 45 minutes. I couldn't figure out what to do with this terminal. After some time on the internet and checking their forums, turns out, well, the terminal just doesn't show up. There's a waypoint all the way up to it, but once you're in the room, there's no interactive terminal. And it's not like I was doing something wrong. It's just not there. And that's not the only circumstance. If I open up my menu here and we'll come into these missions I have, mission offers, mission manager. So I have not these, it's these over here. So you see I have a bunch of these lucrative opportunities where I'm supposed to just deliver certain things, decryption modules, spaceflight caviar, and I have these items. I go to the station where I'm supposed to deliver them. There's nothing to guide me to I can't get to the NPC. Like the NPC's in a room behind an elevator that you're supposed to take. We'll go to a station here soon. Why is my autopilot taking me the wrong way? I guess it's not. Oh, it was because I had the mission selected, so it's trying to tell me the mission's that way. We don't actually want the mission. That's what it's doing. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, so there's no way for me to get to these NPCs. And so I'm just stuck with these quests that I can't turn in. And that's quite annoying. In fact, it's the big problem. Now, like I said, they have been knocking out. There's been basically a fairly significant patch every other day rolling out. And it hasn't made the game unplayable, which for me, it's kind of been surprising. I took a gamble on this game. Like I admittedly, I was like, let's go take a gamble. Let's land at one of these. Let's go to this space station here. Start guidance 2, shift A, shift 1. I didn't expect. I expected to find it frustrating, but I was looking for something to engage me. And it's funny. This game has scratched a great itch. I wasn't expecting it to scratch. It's more the backside things, the managing of the trade routes and stuff. I was looking for some type of fun space sandbox to fly around and shoot stuff in. I haven't gotten that. But what I have gotten is a fairly engaging Space the Guild. If you know what I'm talking about. There's a series of games out there called The Guild where you're kind of like setting up your own supply lines, trade lines, doing that. That part there has actually been scratched quite well by this game, despite its bugs. Because you can still do the trading and all that. You can still buy the ships and do all those things. It's just more the story-focused missions within it that you don't have. Yeah. So this game's certainly not ready for everyone. In fact, what this game feels like, and I think it's most likely true, Egosoft they're not an indie developer, but they're definitely like kind of one of those B companies. They're not a big AAA developer. It feels like they got the game 90% of the way there. They were at the point where it was basically ready for mass beta. It's within like the last 3 to 6 months where they just need to crunch a large list of bugs. Mechanically, it's in place. Mechanically, it's ready to go, but they just need to get rid of a lot of those bugs. Kind of where, well, no, it's beyond what I think Fallout 76 is probably at. Maybe it's along those lines. I haven't played Fallout 76. But yeah, it's that 2 or 3 large patches from being ready for, I wouldn't say mass consumption because this is a niche game. It's not for the masses, but it's 2 or 3 big patches from being ready for the people that it's designed for. And even beyond that, for me at least, because I haven't played something like this. In fact, there's really nothing like, woo, where's that dock at? There it is. Okay. We're gonna just crash land into this, basically because I have a really good landing computer. There we go. You know, there's nothing else quite like this. There's games that have aspects of the trade, there's games that have aspects of the combat, but there's not a whole lot of games that combine them together, where you're setting up the trade fleets, setting up the space stations and stuff, but then you're also getting into a ship yourself and going out and you can do the mining, you can do the trading yourself, you can fly from space station to space station, buying the premium goods and then selling them for markup. Or you can go out and do dogfighting, or you can take part in wars. And maybe that's actually, we'll go take a look at some of the war zones going on, as there are large-scale wars. There's currently 9 or 10 factions within the game, and some of the factions play nicely together, some of the factions don't play nicely together. I'm just looking for some of the NPCs. Here's one space station. Oh, I should mention, like, you can get up. These space stations are fully walk-aroundable. For fully interactable. That's actually not true. They're not fully. They're hidden little mini boxes within each other. Let's run over here to the trader. We've been looking for a specific item, so we'll check over here. I don't think he actually sells it. I think it comes out of they're called loot boxes. Don't worry, you don't buy them. They're actually sold. They're not sold. They're found around space. You search for them. They're kind of like hidden caches. So let's see here. No. Nope. Everything we got there. We don't need 4 of those. Let's sell off 3 of those. We got these crystals. We can get rid of those crystals. Don't need a bunch of those. We'll keep a couple. Keep that. Crystal bit. We'll keep those. Confirm. Goodbye. But yeah, so there's like an NPC right there you get to talk to and turn around, run over here. Normally there's more NPCs around and you can hire like crew members for your ship. Though my ship's fully maxed out with crew right now. I can't afford any more on it. I'm just in basically a heavy fighter is what I currently have. Let's find one of the elevator. There it is. There's one of them. This is why I've seen it's not truly a space station. They kind of hide things, sort of like Star Citizen's kind of doing with its elevators right now. We can see there's different habitat areas and stuff, but we can go to like the manager's office. And then come in here and talk to the manager. And he's probably not going to have anything for us to do. We could find a faction representative. It's about all we can do with him. And then if we're done, there's also a teleportation system. So right now, if I pressed Shift D, we can teleport back to the ship and do that. In fact, I can teleport all over the place. I've researched this, but now, like, so let's go ahead. Let's just teleport to my station. We're leaving our ship here, which is probably not a smart move, but now we're at my space station. So out there we can see the construction going on. They'll put the habitat areas up there and up there. You can see the satellite being, or the solar array being built over there. Yeah, so we can do that. Let's go ahead and teleport back before I forget my ship. It was over here. I have a crew member on my ship, but I don't have a pilot. Otherwise I could call it. Yeah, right there. So teleport to. And voila, we're back. So they've definitely taken elements for if you just want to play that that economy side of things, you certainly can just play the economy side of things. It's absolutely doable. There will be times where you need to get in your ship and go somewhere. What are you doing in my chair? Oh, you're not my cat. Hang on. Am I in the wrong ship? What ship is this?
I'll wait for you to take off.
You damn well better wait for me. This is my ship. Yeah, this is my ship. I actually doesn't have... Hang on. Which one of these is mine? Striker 2. Oh, I did teleport to the wrong one. One of my trading ships was there. It's parked... Where'd it go? It's on the other side. One of my trading ships was parked. I teleported to the wrong ship. There we go. Anyway. Shift D. Take off. Well, we're getting to the point where I'm now rambling. It is a troubled game right now. It's coming along. I think within 3 to 6 months, this could be a really good game. I'm also really excited. They're calling it Foundations. And I think that's very much intentional, as in this is the foundation of which they're going to build 2, 3, 4 expansions on top of. And I think with those expansions, this could become a really good game. I don't think it's going to become a great space dogfighter, which we still haven't gotten into any. Where are some pirates at? Where's some naughties? There's always some naughties around somewhere. Where's some baddies? We could fly out. That would take a while. A trip out to here is going to take like 10 minutes. So we're not going to do that. Generally, there's some sort of pirates flying around this area. That's kind of why we were here. Oh well, I'll edit some combat footage in when I find it, or as I finish up here. What I was saying, so I think for like the average person, not the average person, for someone that these elements appeal to, it's about 3 to 6 months early. It needs those 2 or 3 significant patches to really fix things. But mechanically, in terms of, philosophy, the design philosophy that they took and what elements the foundation that they laid, which again plays into the game X4 Foundations, it's a good base to start from. It feels sort of like Mountain Blade, where yeah, the base is there. Now they just got to kind of level on top of that beyond. In fact, Mountain Blade's a pretty good example, though Mountain Blade's more janky than this. This isn't quite that janky as Mountain Blade is. Certainly not for everyone. Oh, I see a ship. Quick, kill the engines. There it is. All right, we're going to dive in on this Xenon target. So you'll see these little dots here in front of me, the 2 dots away from my crosshair. Those are where my guns are currently aiming. Once we're about 3 kilometers out, we can then engage. Our boost is also our shield, so you don't want to use your boost too much. Oh, he's firing, so there you go. We're going to open up 2. And they'll keep aiming. As long as our guns are in a position where they can aim and target the ship, they will. If we get too close, the guns can't converge together because they are separate. You can see one on the front right, one on the front left there. So if you get too close to the target, they can't really converge. And there he goes. And that's the combat. And then after he drops, after he dies, they'll sometimes drop something that we can tractor beam up. So we'll tractor beam that in. And we got another Spacefly caviar, Spacefly egg, which can be used to make Spacefly caviar. And that's just a basic pirate. We do want to see some bigger ships, though, just to give a little bit of the scale. So there's currently a holy war, not a holy war, but a war going on down here. So let's start guidance to there. Shift A, Shift 1. The game does have a okay autopilot system. It sometimes breaks stuff. It works well enough, though, that you can turn it on for 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes as you come in here and look. Oh, okay, so we're up to 800,000 credits now, so we've sold a bunch of stuff. Let's take a look at our space station again. Manage funds. Over here. Oh, yep, so they've spent a whole lot of money. That means they were buying stuff. Well, I'm going to keep them back up to... I keep them around 200K right now because that's about what I can afford to do. It's a balance. I want to keep enough money in my basic cash flow that my traders can take from that in order to buy goods, but I also want to keep money in the space station. Let's see, did they finish up the did the solar panel get finished up yet, though? Nope, 89%. So we're still waiting on some more goods to come in there. 89%. Okay, that's fine. We're getting there. And once that's done, then the habitat areas will begin. That's fine. All right, I'm going to cut as we fly out here. I just want to show a little bit of some of the larger ships and everything, because this is a small, and then they go medium, large, extra large. Basically, an extra large is a carrier which will carry 40 to 60 of the ship I'm in. It can launch from that. So they're pretty big. They're not on the scale of Star Citizen. Let's make no mistake. They're compared to the Idris, no. They're nothing like that. And the Idris is much smaller than the actual Bengal, which is the carrier. They don't have that size, but for what they are, they're pretty good. Here we go. We're finding some of the larger ships. So what I found is what is called a flashpoint. So 2 of the major factions are having a war within themselves, or among themselves. And here are some of those carriers I was actually talking about right there. Behemoth Sentinel Destroyer. Actually, that's not a carrier at all. That's a destroyer. Where's the carrier? Do they not have one here? You can see this thing's pretty big. We can actually maybe land on it. Can we? Oh, yep, he's going to let us land. Whoop! Too fast, too fast. We can land on the destroyer. Maybe we'll trade with him. Woo! Come on in. That auto landing's nice. All right, let's can't trade. Let's get up, take a look around the ship while I talk about a little bit of the last bit. So, a few little things I forgot to mention that I think are important to sell. Not to sell this game. I'm not trying to sell you on it. I'm just trying to inform you on it if you might be interested in. So, the base world when they first make it, or the universe, I guess, when it first opens up, it's kind of got a starting point. From then on, though, the AI just takes over. So there's no set way of how it's going to play out. So there's a few things like this is the beginning of, I've just started a third startup on it. My space station always ends up in this same spot. The hexes seem to be set up, and there are other X's to fill this in. Like there's a spot here, there's a spot here. They just haven't been discovered by me yet. They're in a set location. Some of the resources, like the asteroid fields and stuff, those are within a set location. But a lot of the space stations and stuff, they get built. You'll see here these highways. Now, most of these still were there from the new ones, but there are other highways like this one here. This is being built. And that may or may not be built in yours. Some of the other locations, some of the other space stations may or may not be built. The current conflict going on between the Argons, or what are they? Not Argons. Yeah, Argons and the Holy Vision guys. They'll probably be in conflict in yours, but the fight might not be going on right now. It's here in Second Contact. It might not be in Second Contact for you. It might be somewhere else. Let's go see if we can get on the bridge of this thing. Woo! This ship here, eventually I could have one. Yeah. You can EVA. You might just saw there was an option to use spaceship or spacesuit. You can EVA out so you can fly around. Here's a bunch of different characters. I wonder if I can crewman piloting. I've been trying to find someone with good management skills. I wonder if this is how you find it. Engineering. You don't. Unknowns. Okay. Maybe hire this pilot. I wonder if I can. What about you? Engineering, yeah, so the different crew. This is kind of the interiors of the ship. You have just you use the docking and you can go to some different locations. Go back to the dock area. So yeah, it's a sandbox, has some base starting parameters. It's populated with space stations, some highways, jump gates and stuff, but after it starts off, everyone's playthrough is going to be to some extent different as it's going to play out. Now the AI, like the trading, they're still going to see, oh, here's resources, there's resources, so your production line stuff is probably going to be in similar locations, but the combat zone and how the factions fight might be a little bit different. This is a little weird. This is another one up there. It's a little strange sitting there. Also, the galaxy as it is as a whole, that was okay. It's a box. Rather than being an oval, a sphere, it's more of a rectangle. So it's very wide in the X and the Z, but there's not a lot of Y to it. There is some. We can definitely travel in the Y direction, but it's a lot less than it is in a lot of other games that you're looking for, especially Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous has a lot of... It's very three-dimensional. This one is three-dimensional, but most everything is on a similar Y plane, with things averaging maybe 30 kilometers plus or minus in that direction. It's mostly spread out in the X and the Z axis, if that makes sense. So that's something to keep in mind. Other than that, though, it's a unique game. It's either going to be perfect for you, or it's probably not going to interest you in either way. It's not going to be one of those games that's going to win over too many people. It either mechanically does what you're looking for, or it doesn't. Unfortunately, it is kind of broken. For me, going forward right now, there's going to be two things. I very much want to do a basic tutorial series on this game, how to do some basic stuff, which is going to start rolling out pretty much right away. And then I plan to revisit in 6 months with like a video like this, an update of, is it now better to play? Maybe even before that. If they get suddenly 2 or 3 patches out by February, maybe we'll revisit then. But I do plan to come back once it's mostly fixed and ready to go for more general consumer use, I'll revisit then. So that's going to be my thoughts on this guy, or that's going to be my plans with this guy. Going forward, we're probably going to take a look at the new...
To drop my cargo. Awaiting orders.
Don't drop your cargo. Run. I gave you big engines for a reason. Going forward, we're probably going to check out the new Elite Dangerous expansion, which is dropping next week, I think. That's going to be delayed, though, as I got work coming up that's going to keep me away. What was that? That was Small Trader 3, I think? So, yep, he's being harassed. How's he doing in terms of health? Information, general. His shields are up. There's nobody there to help him, though, right now. If he makes it to this jump gate, though, he's away. He was trying to go this way, though. Maybe he'll get to the jump gate and get away. If he turns around, he's in trouble. There's some fighters over there that can maybe come back and assist him. There's also, you can see these fighters here are damaged. If they're damaged, that means they're probably out pirate hunting. Oh, he jumped away. Okay, so he's clear. He's clear. So the Be Elite Dangerous, we're probably going to go back and revisit, oh crap, what's it called? Rogue Legacy? No. It's, oh, the second one is coming out here sometime early next year, which is a prequel sequel. Why can't I remember what it's called? It's got the awesome music. The first one was very much 2D, where this one's kind of got a little bit of Z. That one had no Z at all, or Y. That one had no Y at all. I can't think of why. It's not Rogue Legacy. It's Rogue Galaxy. Rebel Galaxy. That's the one I'm looking for. We'll probably revisit Rebel Galaxy. There's a bunch of other ones out there that I have and I've dabbled in. I'm going to now put together some thoughts for the Star Citizen community. We have gone long enough, everyone, so if you stay till the end, thanks very much for watching. Until next time, though, this has been Power.